Is this thing on? Oh, hello, it's Winston. How's it going, everyone? And welcome. I want to talk about a pretty interesting topic that I've been thinking about, which I don't know how many people have discussed this already. Some already did, some already didn't. But I thought to actually take my own take on this. So, anyways, I want to talk about an interesting topic that I've been thinking about, and it is supports as a role, and in general, how different it is to what it was before. I actually want to start with an interesting thought that I've had while I was thinking about making this video, and it is that support is pretty much a bad combination of somewhat of a tank and somewhat of a DPS. Now, this sounds crazy, yeah, but I just genuinely thought about this. Let's look about some of the heroes we have here. We have Baptiste, and yes, this is still on the April Fool's update. I know, haha, very funny. But let's look at Baptiste, for example. He heals, and what's tanky about him then, you know? Well, it's the Immortality Field. It's as if he has a lot more health, because then people have to destroy this thing, or they have to wait, how much is that, 5 seconds? Or, Anna's ultimate, Lucio's ultimate, Moira's ultimate. You know, it just feels Brigitte's ultimate. Like, who? It really feels like that's something they're trying to do. But in the end, what I'm trying to say, and this is pretty much my conclusion out of all the thoughts that I've had, is that supports are probably the worst role as of now in the game. As of the 2nd of April. Sorry about that. Now, let me explain why. This is a pretty interesting take that I thought about. One major issue that I've seen with the role is players having a pretty big issue trying to now learn how to play this role. And I mean, how people might say, "Oh, how difficult could this be?" Oh, yeah, but it shouldn't be that hard, right? Well, that's the problem. Support has a pretty vast idea that many players could take it in different levels and different amounts in any way they want. Let me give you an example of a different role. We have, for example, Roadhog. Why not? We have Roadhog here. As you can see, he's a tank because he's big, he has a lot of health, and he deals a pretty chunky amount of damage. Very nice, very cool. Then let's look, for example, at Soldier 76. He's pretty small, pretty fragile, deals a lot of damage, and he has abilities that could also amplify this damage, such as, for example, his rockets, as you can see. But that's the thing. These two are pretty easy. These two roles are kind of easy to differentiate. But then let's look at the supports. We have Lucio, which he can wall ride, and he can speed boost, and he can heal around him. Okay, sounds kind of a quirky way to call support. But then the issue becomes when he can do this. And he could just start killing people like that. And then you start asking yourself, okay, so what the hell is a support then? Is it a healer? Is it damage support? And that's pretty much an issue. It feels like the supports are trying to be considered into two categories, and there's nothing more and nothing less. I think that's a pretty major problem, in my opinion. Because it feels like, oh, you need a mobile hero that can also deal damage and heal pretty nicely. Oh, that's excellent. You have Lucio, Moira, Kiriko, and a little bit of Brigitte. Oh, you want to amp up the damage and at the cost of healing or at a cost of something else? Say no more. Anna, Baptiste, Zenyatta. It feels Mercy is pretty much the one that's always been in between or purely at healing. This is what pretty much most people say. But I just said two categories that filled up almost everyone except Mercy, that she's kind of a mix in my opinion. That's a big issue. Because if you look at the DPS, you can't really say the same. You can give them 100 and something different options. Now, yes, sure, you could say the same with support. Maybe I am exaggerating. But, okay, so let's give it into a different thing. utility versus healing. Oh, great. That's kind of an issue to categorize that because you have Ana that has utility and lots of healing. You have Lucio that has specific utility and less healing. You have Mercy that has no utility, oh, except the res, but lots of healing. You have Moira that has only damage and heals, no utility at all, but she can do probably most damage and most heals out of all of these. Yeah, it's just a thing of it feels like they're always playing with two sliders. It's like you have one slider that says damage, one slider that says healing, and most likely both of them can be at maximum or minimum. And that's an issue for me because it doesn't feel the same when you're playing DPS. It doesn't feel like you have a slider when you're picking your favorite DPS hero. It's as if I just picked Genji, and it's like, oh yeah, the whole concept, the base of it, is that he's doing damage. You can't really say the same with a support. You can't really say that a support has to heal or has to damage. They're a support. They have to do kind of both. And I personally feel that this is where it becomes very problematic. Not only that, but as you might notice, but we are playing Overwatch 2. Which, in my opinion, the biggest change here is that now we have one tank. And oh boy, this has done a lot of issues because, let's just say this, around 90% of all heroes were meant to have two tanks on their team. Because of that part, we've had a lot of different balancing. We've had different changes, we've had extra reworks for a whole character. We had pretty much a little bit of changes for one ability, which can be considered to a rework. But then you might think to yourself, okay, cool, but what did the supports get in order to overcome this differentiate? Well, I'm glad you asked that. Lucio got absolutely nothing. For some reason, I feel that now, because there's one less tank, it feels that the damage is being spread across more characters. Which is a big issue for Lucio because he can't really heal that fast. I mean, let's just look at an example. I put him onto healing. Look at the speed that it's healing. It's barely negating a damage of a bot, which, how much damage does this bot do? Yeah, his whole combo did almost 70 damage. Which, that's not that good. But then you might say, oh, but Lucio can amplify. Look at that healing, man. Look at that healing while taking damage. You're right, but then it has a 12-second cooldown. But then we said that Lucio is a DPS. By the way, I'm taking Lucio as an example here because I think he got hit the most out of all the supports. I feel like he didn't get enough proper changes, rework, whatever you want to call it. They just genuinely, you can't really play him. He's not that useful anymore. It feels like the only players who want to play him are people who want to play DPS, but, they don't want to wait the queue, I guess. Because, hey, look, he does good damage, yeah? He can heal himself pretty nicely, especially that now supports have a great passive, which we're going to talk about soon. But it feels like it's not enough. But then you could look at the other side of the grid, the most strongest, arguably the strongest support as of now, Baptiste. Baptiste honestly didn't get too much changes. He already got a lot of changes before it became Overwatch 2. And honestly, I'm just even more surprised because he just became a powerhouse. And you can just see by the heals. This is a splash hitting healing grenade. And as you can see, this heals for quite a lot, not gonna lie. How much is that? 70 damage? Yeah. And you can just keep spamming this, by the way. So, it's like, okay, I can understand that, but it's not all, though. He also has his fist bump, which I always forget how it's called. Look at the healing. Not only that it gave a burst, I think that's 100 health, but it also lingers the healing a bit more. Pretty much, it heals a tiny bit more, just so you wouldn't really get this chip damage that these boss are doing, for example. And that's not only that, but he also has immortality. Oh yeah, they just died, but they would have survived this. Immortality field, which is a whole projectile that can keep your team invincible for a certain set amount of time. And Surprise, surprise, but that's not everything. I'm not even going to talk about his ult. He has mobility. You can jump around areas with no problem. How amazing is that? How is it that Baptiste was also barely changed hero, yeah? He barely got any changes, but he's just so much more powerful than Lucio. And I think it's because he was already strong. He was already a pretty nice healer. The issue is that he couldn't really keep a tank at steady health. Although he's healing a lot, it's just the fact that a single burst would pretty much end everything. But now, with this Baptiste, oh no, no, no. If a Bastion's gonna shoot straight away at your teammate, you can do this, fist bump them, and they probably won't die to this that fast. They'll probably survive for a couple seconds. And that seconds are enough to kill the Bastion and have a free push. Lucio cannot do that. Even if Lucio went straight forward, took some of the shots, wall righted onto the Bastion, started attacking him, it would not save your teammate. I'm sorry to say it won't save your teammate. And you know, that's the thing. It feels the supports did not get any changes, really. And except Mercy that recently got a major change, none of them got really anything that big. You know what? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. What am I saying? I should show you. So here we are. This is the latest update before the April Fool's one. So Ana got a biotic grenade effect duration change for a half second. That's nice, I guess. Brigitte, now pretty much they changed her healing pad. There's also a development update. Okay, Lucio's cost reduced by 7%. And here's a major update that they gave Mercy, which now she can now regenerate, and now she heals herself by her healing others. As you can see, she also got nerfed. With her Guardian Angel, with a bunch of stuff she has. She got nerfed because she's a strong support, but it just doesn't feel like the other supports are getting any of it. So Moira's ultimate got reduced. Zen's ammo got increased. Okay, alright. So pretty much Mercy really got a major change, which was a nerf, by the way. So let's look at January, shall we? You can see a lot of changes here. Oh. Yeah, so this is the mid-season change. As you can see, Roadhog got changed, Orisa got a little bit changed, Sojourn got changed with a pretty big change. Kiriko also got a small change again. Which, by the way, this is a pretty major one, but we're gonna talk about that part. But then let's keep looking, keep looking. Oh, there we go. So Brigitte's health increased on her shield. And then Moira's dealing damage to Biotic Orb now restores a small amount of biotic energy. That's all for you, folks. That's all what we got from this. Nothing more. Okay, no problem, no problem. Let's keep looking. December. I'm gonna stop at December. I don't want to keep this for too long. Man, I'm getting spammed so hard. Okay. Anyways, let's look at Doomfist, for example. This is a mid-season patch, 15th December. He got his cooldown change, power block change, he's the best defense, which is his passive got also changed. Pretty much nerfed because he was really strong at the beginning. Orisa got a pretty huge change here because now her attack pierces through barriers. Ramatra also got a pretty major buff here. Sojourn got a little bit changed here, also pretty nice. Tracer got a small nerf, which is a pretty big one, honestly. And then you could see supports again. So her healing got increased by 5 points, and her effect duration got increased to 4 seconds. Which, by the way, as of the before the April Fool's patch, this was nerfed to 3.5. And here, Kiriko's invulnerability duration got reduced. Okay. These are mid-season patches. Let's see the bigger ones. Oh, would you look at that? Ramatra got added. They're adding a bunch of stuff. Whoa! Doomfist got another rework. Oh, look, Junker Queen getting nerfed by having her torso and hit volume increase. You can see her Rampage getting changed. cooldowns getting changed, and this is pretty much a pretty big rework in my opinion, yeah. Also, Bastion getting a pretty interesting rework. Sojourn also getting some major nerfs over here. Symmetra also getting a little bit of change. Tracer getting this damage boost that's pretty much her major part in my opinion. And then let's look at the supports, of course. We have to look at this. So, her Sleep Dart cooldown got reduced by a second. And then Kiriko, which, again, this is another pretty major change. Her arm volume width got reduced. Okay, so harder to hit. Added an auto wall climb hero option. Very nice, very intuitive, very accessible, not gonna lie. And then Kitsune increased by 10%, movement reduced, cooldown rate changed. Cast time to this was buffed. Her ammo got increased, and ability can now be held. So pretty much she got nerfed really hard on her ult, but she got a little bit of changes, which is nice. And then let's look at Mercy. Weapon swap time reduced from 0.5 to 0.35 seconds. And her ammo got increased. That's it. That's all of your changes for the supports for December. Now, I can keep going with this. How much is the videos already at, by the way? We're already at around 17 minutes almost when I'm going to finish this. I thought it was going to be 10 minutes. I only gave a little bit of examples, honestly. And it feels like I would just keep rambling about this and keep talking about this because, honestly, this is a never-ending cycle that has been already ever since the October, when the second game was released. I feel like the best change that Blizzard could do is to start really amping up and start reworking the supports, because now on the next season, I hope this is going to be the support season, because they're the ones not getting enough love, and I feel that many supports are just swapping from it because they prefer playing DPS and tank, just because support doesn't get that much anymore. They don't get enough love because, well, support is just not that fun anymore, and they play this so much that it doesn't feel different for them after 2016. But also, new players can't really learn these heroes as much, simply because if you look even in the newest iteration of Kiriko, but she's a pretty DPS powerhouse. And people don't like that. People don't like the fact that you can play as Kiriko and fill in as DPS pretty much, because these kunais are strong. And her kit is also very strong, although it got nerfed. This feels like a pretty major issue in my opinion. I feel like they have to start finding out ideas to make the rest of the supports that don't feel as unique or useful, much useful. Lucio is the major example, in my opinion, here. He just really needs a lot of changes now. Moira, also a great example of a hero that really deserves a change. She really deserves a rework. Brigitte also really deserves a rework. And I guess Zen does need a small change, something to make him much more fun. Because although the kick is a great idea to add into him, I just don't feel he's that useful. He's way too difficult for players to start picking him up and learning him. And on the other side, I want heroes like Ana, Kiriko, Baptiste, and Mercy maybe readjusted to give some justice to the four other supports that we have. Because I don't know if you've noticed it, but most of the supports that you see are the ones that are returning. It's either ones that are really good or really easy at DPSing, or it's heroes that have really cool skins, or it's veterans. There's nothing really in between here. And I feel that people really need to start learning more of these heroes, but before people can start learning and you give them that option, you really need to give them the options to start learning these, to start enjoying them. Right, anyways, I'm going to stop my rambling here. Thank you if anybody has watched this. Thank you everybody for watching it. If you did find this information interesting, useful, or whatnot, and even staying tuned until the end of the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, I will see you guys on the next stream, video, short, whatever I'm doing next. So, yeah.